So last video, I was talking about art, being an artist, and chilling out about being an artist, you know? Like, I get all in my head about playing drums, and after shows, I kind of focus on my mistakes, and then I see that people are having fun, and I chill out about it. And, like releasing art and kind of getting super in your own head about, like, all the flaws that you can see within it. And I've really been thinking about that and interrogating why I guess me particular, I won't speak for you, but if this resonates with you, good. That's why I do these. But I was interrogating why I kind of get really hung up on the details. And it kind of led into this much bigger thought, experiment, whatever, thought process about the motivation behind these actions, making art. What's the motivation? What's my motivation behind making art at all? And what's the motivation behind getting all in my head about these mistakes, or about like all the things I could do to a piece of art? What drives that, like, neuroticism? And I've come to an idea. I put a name to it. I just want to share it with you here and talk about it. I'm not a licensed therapist or anything, whatever, like blah, 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 blah. This is just fucking shit that I think about. But I have a theory, a brain theory, whatever. I've been thinking about how what you value determines your life, determines the outcome of your life. Outcomes are things that happen every day. Outcomes of actions, of consequences, of just a series of events, neutral ass outcomes for things, even mundane shit. It doesn't have to be like a dramatic ass outcome of something. But what you value assigns, it kind of filters it through, and it assigns good and bad or neutral feelings to these outcomes. I'll explain what I mean by what you value. So, I've tried to do art for a long time. I've identified as an artist for, large parts of my life. But recently, as I've come to know myself more, I have stopped identifying as an artist. And I identify as a chiller. And let me explain. Because what I value most, of course, it's not, black and white or anything, but what I value most, what I desire most, is hanging out with people that I love. It's getting that time in to just be around people and have fun, or not have fun, talk about serious stuff, or just like even just go do stuff, like go shopping and not even have particular fun, but being with the people that I love, helping them, having them help me, telling jokes, whatever, anything. I just want to be around them. And so that's what I value most. And I found that as I have realized that and brought that to a conscious level so that it can actually inform my future behavior, that I have become much more of an artist, much more of an active artist, because now my art serves that purpose. I'm a drummer. So, like, a drummer needs a band, and bands need drummers all the time. So, of course, that's where I find the most motivation to drum, from that fact that it's inherently social to make music with people, and it's so much more fulfilling to me than like any other aspect of the craft. And I still really enjoy like working on my rudiments and doing technical stuff and getting better. I like being better at the drums, but at the end of the day, like, it's all to serve the purpose of going out and playing with people. I wanted to get as good as I could so that I could play other types of music. And like I'm in another band now, and I know these two new people, and they have a bunch of friends, and I'm like, hey, I'm gonna meet new people, and they do a lot of cool DJ stuff. So like it's just super exciting to me, and I've learned really to just follow that feeling and not put so much judgment on it, because like the evidence is there. You know what I mean? Like in the past, I wanted to identify as an artist. I am an artist. And that caused a lot of stress on me, because I would identify as an artist and then go, hole up in my room and try to do it, and I just could not do it. And I just couldn't figure out why. I was like, I'm an artist, but I don't make art. What the fuck is going on? What's wrong with me? The dissonance between that created bad perceptions, created the dissonance in itself is bad. When you think you're one way, and you want to be one way, and then you don't have the motivation to be that way. You're like, what's wrong with me? Like, why is this my conscious will? Why is my motivation? Like, where's the disconnect? And I think that can easily become, oh, it's because I'm broken, like, because it's hard to communicate. Like, those two things don't necessarily communicate with each other. It's all in your head, but motivation is such a kind of like vague thing. It's such an effervescent thing. I call myself a chiller. So art for me is a vehicle for socializing. The social aspect of it is what I'm here for. It's why I do art. And there are other people that I would call not true artists, but I would call prolific artists. And I'm assuming here, but what I think that they value the art of not the art. They value the act of creation the most in art, and they're prolific because they are just making stuff all of the time, and they value the process of experimenting, with different mediums and techniques and themes, kind of like pushing physical and conceptual stuff in different ways, configuring these things to express, certain emotions, or even just technical, experimentation. And for a long time, I weighed myself against people like that. And, looking like, look at all of that they've produced, and look at me. Nothing. Like, just nothing. And I, because I wasn't understanding it in terms of this, the motivation and like value, I was just putting us together straight up on a scale and comparing our output, and obviously they win, but really it's just different. It's not comparable. I value the social aspect of making art, and they value the process of creating art, their art, of pushing their artistic abilities higher and higher, and getting the expression out through that. I want to express myself with other people. I want to create things that are a sum of many people's minds. To me, it's just fascinating and cool, and yeah, so it's not comparable. These are two different objectives, so you're going to get different results. It's so funny because, like, I actually am an artist. I put stuff out. Usually it's collaborative, but it was really just like that easy, before I understood like my difference. Making art was a mystery to me. I was like, how do these people, first of all, just put stuff out in general? Like, how do they feel secure in knowing like it's good enough for other people to see? And second of all, how the fuck are they doing it constantly? And so the first one, the dissonance there was bringing up insecurity, was bringing up, I'm a bad artist. That's why I don't put stuff out, because it's not good. Nobody wants to see it. And second of all, I'm lazy. I'm unfocused. I'm not an artist. Otherwise, I would have the motivation. And like I think the brain often jumps to those conclusions of thinking it has all of the information and just running with a conclusion, even if it's bad. And if you have mental illness or mental health struggles, it might jump to the bad more often. And I think that's just something to look out for. Look out for the brain jumping to conclusions and trying to shut down sources of kind of like deeper and harder questions. You know what I mean? Like, I think the brain, it wants things to be predictable and straightforward and simple. So if you're doing kind of like, excavating of your brain, you're going to have resistance to that, and it's going to want to close that as soon as possible. So it's going to be coming up with these, it's going to be looking for, evidence that, oh, you're just not an artist, or, oh, you're just not creative. Let's move on, let's not push on that anymore. Let's just go back to doing the same old fucking shit. It's easy. It works. And it's weird having a brain, man, because like, how are you gonna use the thing to dissect the thing? Use the thing to understand the thing. You can't use a hammer to wait. You can't use a nail to hammer a nail. You know what I mean? You can't use a pencil to... Can't use paper to write on paper, because you need a pencil for that. I'm not good at analogies, but I constantly want to do analogies. So I would genuinely try to trust yourself and trust your feelings, and look at what feels good. What's felt the best about art, and look into that and see, and try and do a little thought experiment and see, what did you get out of that? What was the most like important, fulfilling aspect of that moment? Was it that you connected with somebody? Was it that your talent was recognized? I'm keeping the concept to art right now to keep it simple, but honestly, maybe you have to look into other areas of your life to understand like what you value, because it's hard to like condense all of these feelings into like the actual root motivation. Like that's very difficult, and that's why it takes a very long time to feel like you understand what it is, because you just need a lot of evidence. You need a lot of outcomes to be able to create like or find like the average. What's the core of it. So I understand if that's still a struggle. What fulfills you, and what makes your soul feel warm and like it is right where it needs to be, and that it is getting to be itself, and it feels comfortable in the world. That's what you value. Like you gotta believe that. You gotta believe that despite everything, you do have the best intentions. You want to be happy, and you want the world to be a better place. I'm going to think about this more, because honestly, this goes really, really deep, and I think it's very important to try to work on. Now figure out, because of course we're always changing and we're always revealing ourselves to ourselves, but we can get closer to the truth, and we can be better to ourselves, more honest with ourselves and more responsible with ourselves. And that's all you can hope for, is just, having more wins than losses. Is that like a sports analogy? I don't watch sports.